Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Melody. Welcome. I make mainly vlogs on this channel, but also talk about makeup, skincare, and just life things. Today marks the day that I'm going to start a new series. It's called the Wedding Series. Yay! If you watch my vlogs, you kind of probably already know that I'm getting married in April 2025, which is coming up real soon. I can't believe it. I figured I could bring you guys along as I wrap up final details with the wedding and also just talk about how wedding planning has been going in general to help out fellow brides or future brides out there. We did not hire a wedding planner. We only hired like a day of coordinator, which was required by our venue. So she's there on the day of their wedding and she's in charge of being the main contact for the vendors. And this was just required by our venue, so we had to hire one. But other than that, we don't have a official wedding planner, so I had to reach out to vendors all by myself and figure out all the details and plan all the details myself. So I got engaged in April 2024 and our wedding is April 2025. So I gave myself a year to plan the wedding and I think it's going well so far. I got most of the big things out of the way early on. I booked all my big vendors early on and now I'm just finalizing the details with people RSVPing and like I'm gonna have to print out the seating charts, print out menus, things like that, just the little things, but most of the big things are out of the way. So this past weekend we finally did our wedding cake tasting. This is something I've been putting off, not purposely, but mainly because we didn't know what kind of wedding cake we wanted for literally the longest time. We kind of thought we wanted a cutting cake and then just like a sheet cake in the back. But then Jake talked to me about it and said that, you know, the one thing that he imagines at a wedding, at our wedding, is a 3-tiered cake. So kind of made a compromise there and we decided finally that we're gonna go for a 3-tiered cake. So the process on how I find my vendors is I look on my venue's website. They have a list of preferred vendors, but I don't have to use them necessarily. And I looked through them first, didn't think I liked any of the bakers that they suggested. So then I looked on Instagram and looked up like Colorado bakeries, Colorado bakers, Colorado cakes, things like that. And I kind of looked through the bakers' pages that way to see if their style matched with what we wanted. Another tip for you guys that I would suggest is actually if you have Facebook, there are Facebook bridal groups like Colorado Brides or Colorado Brides of 2025. I know a lot of people don't use Facebook anymore, and I feel like I'm kind of showing my age by talking about Facebook, but honestly, those Facebook groups are very helpful because a lot of people have reviews of vendors on there. So this way you can kind of get a feel for if the vendor is legitimate or not, or what other people's experience was with this vendor. I'm trying to not digress too much about wedding cake tasting here, but just real quick, I have seen so many stories about like brides getting scammed by their vendors because they didn't like do a proper research into who they were hiring and they didn't look at proper reviews and that vendor just like dips out on them. So you definitely want to look up reviews and do your research before hiring anybody. Okay, back to wedding cake tasting. So we decided off of Instagram, off of researching on this lady that is more of a small business owner. We reached out to her and she said that she offers cake tasting boxes. So, and a lot of places these days actually charge for wedding cake tasting boxes. So we did buy a wedding cake tasting box from her. And it cost about, I think, $30 for 4 flavors. So I'm just gonna roll the clip here of us picking up the wedding cake box and also trying out the wedding cakes. Jake and I just picked up our wedding cake tasting box from a local baker and we're super excited. We found her on Instagram and she's like a small baker that works out of her house. So we had to pick up the tasting box from her instead of going to like a store to grab it. But yeah, it's right here. Oh, it's so cute. The way she wrapped it. We have 4 flavors to try. I actually don't remember what we asked for. Oh, she put it on here. So we have orange poppy cream. This one is vanilla strawberry compote. This is blue honey, which I really want to try. I'm excited for this one. And this is cookies and cream. Which one do you want to try first? Okay, we're gonna try cookies and cream first. Ready?
pretty good. Exactly like cookies and cream. But I actually like that it's not too sweet. That's like the most Asian thing you could say. Like, I would think that it's sweeter because it's cookies and cream, but it's not that sweet. Mmm. Ooh. Oh, this one looks good. I like that one. Oh, I like that one a lot. Look at this dog. She wants to be a part of a cake tasting too. All right, next one we're gonna try is orange poppy seed. All right, orange poppy seed. It's really unique. I've never had an orange flavored cake before. I kind of like it. Last one is vanilla strawberry compote. Very solid cake. So 1, 2, 3, 4 for you. I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. Okay, well, we're gonna have to discuss this some more before we decide, but that was really good. If you're getting married, definitely do a cake tasting because it's so worth it. Okay.
I think overall experiences like this, like wedding cake tasting, dress shopping, things like that make the wedding planning process really fun. So if you're planning your own wedding, a major tip I have for you guys is just to stay organized. If this means that you have to create Google Docs, Google Sheets, Excel sheets, if you're more of a pen and paper person and you want to print out a binder to stay organized, do it, because staying organized is how you're going to get through wedding planning. I personally looked up different Google Sheet templates that people offered online and kind of just combined them and created my own. So I highly recommend that you do that. All right, guys, so in post editing it, I realized it's just going to be easier to show an example of our spreadsheet. I took out a lot of the major details. You'll kind of get the gist of what I mean of staying organized. So for example, this tab here is the table of contents. I have guest list, vendors, timeline, seating chart, photographer, DJ, venue, florist, anything, all the vendors that you can think of, they have their own tabs. And then I have the wedding party information, people's responsibilities, photographer shot list, things like that. But you can honestly make as many or as little tabs as you want. This is just how I'm staying organized. So for example, if I go to vendors, this page here, I list, as I'm booking my vendors, I update this. So for the venue, I wrote my venue down, and I wrote the contact number here. Usually I think the contact number is here. Person and contact number. I don't know why that got deleted, but contact number. And this way, if you are hiring a day of coordinator, this is what they need: their numbers, who you're booking, and how to contact them. So the next thing I want to show you guys is how I booked my vendors. So for example, when I was looking for a photographer, this is kind of how my tabs looked like. I would look for the person, write their names down. So for example, Jake, and I kind of have a status here of how far along in the process I am with this vendor. So usually I will update this as contacted once I contact them. If they didn't reply to me, I would follow up with them. Once they tell me how much it's going to cost, I update how much their packages cost. So you could see here, this photographer that I contacted cost $6,200, which is really pricey. But here I put some notes saying that they're probably our dream photographer if pricing works out. And then I did this with pretty much, I think I reached out to 10 photographers. I think I did. And I ultimately booked this photographer, which I wrote here, super responsive. We like her photography, pricing's reasonable. So I did that pretty much with every single one of our vendors. So for example, for DJs, this is also, it looks a little different because I didn't make everything look the same because I'm not super good at spreadsheets, but I pretty much did the same thing for every single vendor that we booked and contacted. I would write their names, contact information, contact name, their cost, what we liked about them, what we didn't like. Here I would contact each florist, what they include, how much it costs, their contact information. Like for example, this vendor I spoke to never came back with a proposal, so obviously they were non-responsive and we ended up not going with them. Definitely this is a way to stay organized with your vendors. I hope showing you guys this part kind of helped. Also, another tip for you guys is to definitely create a wedding email that's shared between you and your spouse. You want to create a wedding email. This way, all your communications go through that one email and it's not lost in your own personal email. This has helped us tremendously with keeping track of payments and also just having both me and my partner know the details of the wedding and not just like me or not just him. So definitely create a wedding email, and maybe this email can eventually become your home email that you guys share. My last and final tip for you guys, if you are starting wedding planning and you don't know where to start, is honestly, first and foremost, I think you should set a budget and talk finances with your partner. Weddings, unfortunately, your average wedding, I guess, in America is not cheap these days. It is very expensive. I think the average these days are like $40,000, $30,000, which is insane. Of course, you can do any kind of wedding you want. You can elope, you can do something intimate in your backyard. It doesn't matter how you do it and what you want to do. The day is yours to plan. But I do think, regardless of whatever you do, you should talk finances with your partner, because I think it is smart for you guys to both agree on a number that you are willing to spend on a wedding. If you are uncomfortable talking finances to your partner, I recommend that you start doing that. Or maybe if you don't know how to, hire a couples therapist and start talking about finances, because you should be comfortable talking finances with your future spouse. Setting a number was the best starting point for us to start planning, because this allowed us to figure out where we wanted to allocate our funds, like how much we were willing to spend on the venue, how much we were willing to spend on maybe like our dress, our suits, florists. So if you don't know where to start with wedding planning, I would honestly start there, and next time we can talk about what to do once you set your budget. Okay, I hope these tips helped. This is just some things I've learned from a fellow bride-to-be, and I hope it's gonna help another fellow bride-to-be. Let me know if you guys have any questions about what I talked about, and also just in general, if you have questions about wedding planning or want to talk about it, I would love to talk to you guys about it. And stay tuned for more videos on wedding planning tips. Thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!